So let's get informed. Let's get to a position of power. And how do we do that? I don't know. We can begin by doing business properly and from the powerful position, from a position of power. Excuse me. And how do we do that, so? Well, understanding the different nuances, rules, regulations, statutes, codes, so on and so forth of doing business, right? And not necessarily doing business because, in order to do business, you have to have a name. We all know this. You have to have a name. But when it comes to doing business with that name, there's other implications, responsibilities, and particular situations that you may come into or be involved in with regards to debt, right? So what is debt? Debt is an owed, something that's owed, a balance, money, a promise, a favor. But when we're dealing with commercial debt, legislative commercial debt, it's governed by certain acts, legislation. So, if you're doing business in commerce with a name, I'm not really going to get into the names tonight and the differences between the names. But there's a reporting. There's financial reporting with regards to the IRS. There's credit reporting, different reporting. So, we got certain specific rights with regards to debt and debt files that are maintained by credit reporting agencies. And this is very powerful information. Did this kind of touched on this on a show, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, the show before last. Sister Dais L., powerful sister, her and her husband, powerful. Definitely business associates, friends, what I would consider equals in this, commercial warfare, commercial belly. She came on, and the other sister came on, her friend came on, and we were discussing, I'm sorry, sis, I can't remember your name, but we were discussing, nuances with regards to fair debt collection practices and fair credit reporting. So I wanted to go back in on that. Now, I did put in the description that Daisel was going to be here, but she had a family emergency. I told her that to take care of your family because y'all know family comes first. And if she can make it, she can make it. If she can't, she can't. Y'all know I got this though, right? So I'm going to be on the lookout for the sister throughout the show. But I got these publications in front of me. Now, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. I mean, who wants to really read legislation? Nobody. Who likes reading legislation? Nobody. But if it serves as a benefit and you can discern and perceive the benefit, then we're willing to take the detriment or the liability of learning something we don't want to learn. Now, I'm going to tell you this. It's a booklet you can order. From the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. I'm actually going to go to the website, man, so that we can check this out. This is interesting. But you can order these publications. I'm gonna get to that in a second. The site can't be reached. Oh, because I'm tripping. That's why. You can order these, and they'll send them to you for free. You can also go to the Federal Trade Commission, FTC .gov, you can get a free credit report. You can get scam alerts. You can file a consumer complaint. And I'm going to just tell you, I submitted a consumer complaint against T-Mobile. And I think it went a long way in resolving the issue that I was having with T-Mobile. It was a debt issue. It was a change of financial responsibility issue. And then they sent me a financial responsibility. It was mind-boggling, but, it happens. And, really what they try to do is they try to get over on our ignorance. So I'm trying to find where you can order but I can't find it. And I don't want to, just leave this open air on the show. But it comes in booklets, and they'll send it to you, and they'll send up to 10 to you. And what I'm going to do is on the next show, I'll just put all the information out. If the sister comes on, Sister Dais, she has this information. Like I said, she had a family emergency. But going into this, they send a little booklet. But the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act is actually 15 U.S.C. 1692. So 15 United States Code, subsection 1692, all the way to 1692P, as in Paul. So there's, I'm going to just state the congressional findings. There's abundant evidence of the use of abusive, deceptive, and unfair debt collection practices by many debt collectors. Abusive debt collection practices contribute to a number of personal bankruptcies, to marital instability, to the loss of jobs, and to the invasions of individual privacy. Y'all hear that? Sounds like they trying to stand up for individuals' private rights. Interstate commerce. This is D. I'm going to skip. That was A. I'm going to skip down to D. Abusive debt collection practices are carried on to a substantial extent in interstate commerce and through means and instrumentalities of such commerce. Even where abusive debt collection practices are purely intrastate in character, they nevertheless directly affect interstate commerce. So even dealing with the debt collector within your state that you, quote, unquote, reside in, nevertheless directly affects interstate, commerce. So even a state debt collector falls under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. This is information. I'm just giving y'all information. The Bureau of Consumer Financial Protection. Maybe that's why I couldn't find where to order the documents from, because I was probably absolutely 100% on the wrong website, like an uninformed family member. Educational resources, free brochures. Okay, so consumerfinance.gov. Go to educational resources. And you can order the free brochures. You click on credit, and it'll pull up the credit topics. You click on accounts, it'll pull up the account topics. So it's consumerfinance.gov. This is where you can get this. It's free. They'll send it to you for free. It's important. All right, so where was I at? Here's some definitions. As used in this subchapter, communication, the term communication means the conveying of information regarding a debt, directly or indirectly, to any person through any medium. So internet, over the phone, through the mail, smoke signals, it doesn't matter. communication, the conveying of information regarding a debt, directly or indirectly. So that's a debt collections communication. The term consumer means a natural person, obligated or allegedly obligated to pay any debt. I like how they say natural person in this, and I like how they, in the congressional findings, they're talking about invasions of privacy. I think that's very telling to at least the character and nature of this act. The term creditor means any person who offers or extends credit creating a debt or to whom a debt is owed, but such term does not include any person to the extent that he receives an assignment or transfer of a debt in default solely for the purpose of facilitating collection of such a debt from another. That's important. I'm going to read that again, y'all. If you just joining, welcome to the foundation. We're going over fair debt collection practices and reporting. I'm actually in the Debt Collection Practices Act, going over some definitions that are very important. Cool beans. So I'm going to read this again. The term the term creditor means any person who offers or extends credit creating a debt or to whom a debt is owed, but such term does not include any person to the extent that he receives an assignment or transfer of a debt in default solely for purpose of facilitating collection of such debt for another. So that's why they have to specify that they are debt collectors and not a creditor. They are not original creditors. Once it's charged off, corporations charge off bad debt, you can look into the, I think it's 535, publication 535. I could be wrong. With regards to expenses and business expenses, corporate expenses, you can see that you can charge off bad debts and get credits for them. So once that happens, they sell it to a third party. It's already charged off. It no longer exists. The third party attempts to collect. That third party is not a creditor. It states here, right here. And it explicitly states that the term does not include any person to the extent that he receives an assignment or transfer of a debt in default solely for the purpose of facilitating collection. That's a third-party debt collector. The term debt means an obligation or alleged obligation of a consumer to pay money arising out of a transaction in which the money, property, insurance, or services which are subject of the transaction are primarily for personal, family, or household purposes, whether or not such obligation has been reduced to judgment. So this explicitly states that this has nothing to do with your corporate debt. So corporate debt doesn't fall under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. This is the consumer has to be a natural person. So they're explicitly stating this, not a corporation. And it's specifying the debt means an obligation alleged or obligation which arises from a transaction primarily for personal, family, or household purposes. So it's just letting you know. The term debt collector means any person or entity who uses an instrumentality or any instrumentality of interstate commerce or the mails in any business, the principal purpose of which is the collection of any debts, or who regularly collects or attempts to collect directly or indirectly debts owed or due or asserted to be owed or due another. Okay, I'm going to read this again. The term debt collector means any person or entity who uses any instrumentality of interstate commerce or the mails in any business, the principal purpose of which is the collection of any debts. I would say that all businesses, the principal purpose is the generation of revenue, and how you generate revenue through a business is the collection of debts. I would postulate so far as to say, that's just me though. That's just me. Primary, principal purpose of which is the collection of any debts. A debt on my books is an asset on their books. And the reason we go into business is to acquire assets. Is my logic square? I feel like my logic is square right now in in my personal claim that all companies in business, anything in business that's looking to make money is looking to collect debts incurred in the operation of such business. Okay, so the term debt collector does not include any officer or employee of a creditor while in the name of the creditor collecting debts for such creditor. Okay, so an officer or employee of the creditor. So if T-Mobile's coming after you, they're telling you that T-Mobile isn't a third-party debt collector. But, I mean, I don't know. B, any person while acting as a debt collector for another person, both of whom are related by common ownership or affiliated by corporate control. So if they have similar parent companies, same parent companies, if the person acting as a debt collector does so only for persons to whom it is so related or affiliated, and if the principal business of such a person is not the collection of debts. Any officer or employee of the United States or state, to the extent that collecting or attempting to collect any debt is the performance of his official duties. Judicial enforcement, nonprofit organization, at the request of consumers, performs bona fide consumer credit counseling, so on and so forth. Harassment or abuse is what I want to get into. This is 15 U.S.C. 1692D. A debt collector may not engage in any conduct the natural consequence of which is to harass, oppress, or abuse any person in connection with the collection of a debt. Without limiting the general application of the foregoing, the following conduct is a violation of this section. So, without limiting the general application, so this isn't an exhaustive list. Is basically what it says. This list isn't limiting the application of the foregoing, harassment or abusive conduct. The use or threat of use of violence or other criminal means to harm the physical person, reputation, or property of any person. So I would say your name is your property, and the name that you do business with is your property. So therefore, the credit rating of the business that you do, the name, is, if it's harmed, I think that would fall under harassment or abuse. 2, the use of obscene or profane language or language, the natural consequence of which is to abuse the hearer or reader. We have the publication of a list of consumers who allegedly refuse to pay debts, except to a consumer reporting agency or to persons meeting the requirements of Section 1681F or 1681B of this title. The advertisement for sale of any debt to coerce payment of a debt. Causing a telephone to ring or engaging any person in telephone conversation repeatedly or continuously with intent to annoy, abuse, or harass any person at the called number. The placement of telephone calls without meaningful disclosure of the caller's identity. So there's harassment calls. False or misleading representation. A debt collector may not use any false, deceptive, or misleading representation or means in connection with the collection of any debts. Without limiting the general application of the foregoing, the following conduct is a violation of this section. The false representation or implication that the debt collector is vouched for, bonded by, or affiliated with the United States or any state, including the use of any badge, uniform, or facsimile thereof. You know what attorneys do? And businesses like to hire attorneys because what an attorney do is they'll send you the alleged debt or a copy of the alleged debt, and then they'll send you the court documents partially filled out but signed that they intend to file if you don't respond. We'll just say, those documents aren't filed. And that may be construed as the use of a false or deceptive, misleading representation. But I guess it could be argued against. The false representation of the character, amount, or legal status of any debt, any services rendered, or compensation which may be lawfully received by any debt collector for the collection of a debt. The false representation or implication that any individual is an attorney or that any communication is from an attorney. the representation or implication that non-payment of a debt will result in the arrest or imprisonment of any person or the seizure, garnishment, attachment, or sale of any property or wages of any person unless such action is lawful and the debt collector or creditor intends to take such action. There's a lot of these. The false representation or implication that a sale, referral, or other transfer of any interest in debt shall cause the consumer to lose any claim or defense to payment of the debt, become the subject of any practice prohibited by the subchapter. Okay, so I'm not going to keep going. This is a false or misleading representation. This is important. I'm going to tell y'all, this booklet that they send is like 20-something pages. Let me see. I'm turning to the back page. It's 24 pages, and that's what the last page is blank. So the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act is not long, and it's written in common English or layman's English, which means that, you know, the common man and woman is supposed to be able to understand this without the need of an attorney or any type of what would you call it, translation, legal translation or something like that. Unfair practices, 15 U.S.C. 1692F as in Frank. A debt collector may not use unfair or unconscionable means to collect or attempt to collect any debt without limiting the general application of the foregoing. The following conduct is a violation of this section. This is important. This is where it starts getting good. This is where it explicitly points out what the violations are. I do want to say this: if you affirm in an affidavit as an affiant to the facts, of unfair practices, which means you file an affidavit of unfair practices, it's really hard for a third-party debt collector to rebut that affidavit because, the debt collector was acting in a specific capacity with regards to his job of a corporation debt collecting. So within that capacity, from what I understand from my studies, he's not within the capacity to sign an affidavit. I hope y'all heard what I just said. A debt collector may not use unfair or unconscionable means to collect or attempt to collect any debt without limiting the general application of the foregoing. The following conduct is a violation of this section. The collection of any amount, including any interest, fee, charge, or expense incidental to the principal obligation, unless such amount is expressly authorized by the agreement creating the debt. I want y'all to pay attention to the first thing that right there. The first one they said specifically denotes authorization by the agreement that creates the debt. That's powerful. So unless it's in the contract, unless they can produce the contract with what most people refer to as the wet ink signature, might be a problem. In attempting to collect, the collection of any amount, unless such amount is expressly authorized by the agreement creating the debt or permitted by law. The acceptance by a debt collector from any person of a check or other payment instrument post-dated by more than 5 days. So if you're on the phone with a debt collector and they're asking for a post-dated check more than 5 days, write it down. Make a note. I mean, if you want, you can send it to them. That'll make the case even more, solid. Unless such a person is notified in writing of the debt collector's intent to deposit such a check or instrument not more than 10 nor less than 3 business days prior to such deposit. So post-dated checks, they got to be careful with post-dated checks. The solicitation by a debt collector of any post-dated check or other post-dated payment instrument for the purpose of threatening or instituting criminal prosecution. You better pay this or we're going to take you to court. You want to go to jail? You want to go to jail? You got to pay us. Woo! That's unfair practices. Depositing or threatening to deposit any post-dated check or other post-dated payment instrument prior to the date on such check or instrument. I mean, First of all, most banks won't even let them do that. Second of all, that threat, that's unfair. Causing charges to be made to any person for communications by concealment of the true purpose of the communication. Such charges include, but are not limited to, collect telephone calls and telegram fees. Taking or threatening to take any non-judicial action to effect dispossession or disablement of property if there is no present right to possession on the property claimed as collateral through an enforceable security interest. Is there a contract? There is no present intention to take possession of the property. You don't even intend to do it. You're just saying it. The property is exempt by law from such dispossession or disablement. The property is communicating with the consumer regarding a debt by postcard. You can't say it in a postcard because it's private information that can't be seen by the public. Using any language or symbol other than the debt collector's address on any envelope when communicating with the consumer by use of the mails or by telegram, except that a debt collector may use his business name if such name does not indicate that he is in the debt collection business. Validation of debts. This is what I like now. Validate the debt, every one of them, especially third party. Validate it. It's very important, especially third party, because you do not have a contract with them. Notice of debt content. Within 5 days after the initial communication with the consumer in connection with the collection of debt, a debt collector shall, unless the following information is contained in the initial communication, the consumer has paid the debt, send the consumer a written notice containing the amount of the debt, the name of the creditor who the debt is owed. Statement that unless the consumer within 30 days after receipt of the notice disputes the validity of the debt or any portion thereof, the debt will be assumed to be valid by the debt collector. This is an administrative process. You're in dishonor. If the consumer notifies the debt collector in writing within the 30-day period described in subsection A of this section that the debt or any portion thereof is disputed, or that the consumer requests the name and address of the original creditor, the debt collector shall cease collection of the debt or any disputed portion thereof until the debt collector obtains verification of the debt or a copy of a judgment, or the name and address of the original creditor and a copy of such verification or judgment, or name and address of the original creditor is mailed to the consumer by the debt collector. Collection activities and communications that do not otherwise violate this chapter may continue during the 30-day period referred to in this subsection. So basically, they can send you a letter saying that they're investigating the debt, and that's not a violation. If they send anything else, that's a violation. Unless the consumer has notified the debt collector in writing that the debt or any portion of the debt is disputed, or that the consumer requests that the name and address of the creditor, any collection activities and communication during the 30-day period may not overshadow or be inconsistent with the disclosure of the consumer's right to dispute the debt or request the name and address of the original creditor. Admission of liability, the failure of a consumer to dispute the validity of a debt under this section may not be construed by any court as an admission of liability by the consumer. Now, if you don't dispute the validity of a debt and you don't pay it, after a certain amount of time, you will be in administrative default, and there will be a default judgment granted. The default judgment is granted. That's an admission of liability. Failure to dispute the debt is an admission of liability, but allowing a default judgment, defaulting in the administrative process, is a tacit admission of guilt. Legal pleadings. A communication in the form of a formal pleading in a civil action shall not be treated as an initial communication for purposes of this subsection. Okay, this is important. Any debt collector, this is venue, 15 U.S.C. 1692I, venue. Any debt collector who brings any legal action on a debt against any consumer shall, in the case of an action to enforce an interest in real property, this is mortgage, securing the consumer's obligation, bring such action only in a judicial district or similar legal entity in which such real property is located. So y'all got foreclosed on, and it wasn't a judicial Article 3 court. It was a commercial court. That's a damn shame. 2, in the case of an action not described in paragraph 1, bring such action only in the judicial district or similar legal entity in which such consumer signed the contract sued upon or in which such consumer resides at the commencement of the action. So, if you live in Connecticut, but you sign a contract in Georgia, they can commence the action where you reside at the commencement. So they're going to come get you in Connecticut. Furnishing certain deceptive forms. It is unlawful to design, compile, furnish any form knowing that such form would be used to create the false belief in the consumer that a person other than the creditor of such a consumer is participating in the collection or in an attempt to collect a debt such consumer allegedly owes such creditor, when in fact such person is not so participating. Y'all get that? Any person who violates this section shall be liable to the same extent and in the same manner as a debt collector is liable under Section 1692K of this title for failure to comply. Here's 1692K. This is civil liability. Civil liability, money. Like O.J. Simpson, he was the murder charges. He was acquitted. He lost a civil suit. They got a lot of money from that brother. I think it was a wrongful death suit or something. So criminal versus civil. Civil, except otherwise provided by this section, any debt collector who fails to comply with any provision of this subchapter with respect to any person is liable to such person in the amount equal to the sum of any actual damage sustained by such person as a result of such failure. A, in the case of any action by an individual, such additional damages as the court may allow, but not exceeding $1,000. I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm going to read this again. Any debt collector who fails to comply with any provision of this subchapter, any provision. So if they fail to comply with 4 provisions in this subchapter in one letter, that's $4,000 plus court costs and any actual damages sustained. So, you might want to look into a legal dictionary to determine the definition of actual damages, because y'all know this is, the term actual damages is going to fall under the law. But they violate 4 provisions. That's $4,000. Actual damages and additional damages, but not exceeding $1,000. So you get actual damages plus additional damages, but the additional damages cannot exceed $1,000. Y'all hear me? I know people that get paid that make a living off of suing third-party debt collectors. And I'm going to tell you this. I know that third-party debt collectors, these are businesses, so investors go into these businesses, and most of the time it's attorneys, and they provision in their budget a certain amount of money for litigation for these violations, because most of consumers are ignorant to these laws. So you're not going to stand on your rights and sue them. So, if they call 100 so-called debtors, maybe only 10 of them are going to hit them with something. So they got 90 off the rip, and then only 10 of them. That's good numbers. That's a good business. That's a really good business. And that's the way they look at it. And that's what we need to understand, that everything in commerce for which we look at and deal with in our everyday life is for the main reason of profits, business, make money, make some cash money. So, and I worked at Best Buy in college when I was going to business college. I worked at Best Buy in store. I worked all over. They had me in every department. Plus, I was getting college credit, so it was good getting paid college credit. It was cool. It was super cool. but I know that with regards to the budget, for each store had a budget and numbers that they had to reach, and so on and so forth. But they called it shrink, store shrink, which is the inventory is shrinking. But because it's not, but even though it's not being paid for, it's like employee theft or theft, which is outside theft, consumer theft, people coming in stealing, as well as employee theft. Man, do y'all know that they had a number within their yearly budget for every single store projected of how much they were going to lose due to theft, employee, internal and external? They got that down. It's a business. I said all that to say this: you're dealing with the third-party debt collector. They have money set aside for people like you who know what to do. First and foremost, validated. You got the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. That's who deals with these people. Now, original creditors, I know you got to deal with the Attorney General, sometimes the Comptroller of Currency. With T-Mobile, I dealt with the FTC. It was a large amount. I told y'all in the last episode, but when I was going private, I was transitioning. So when you have a phone in the social, if you pay your phone bill on time, you don't get positive reporting on that on-time payment. But when you have your phone in a business, your cell phone in a business, every time you pay the cell phone bill, it's positive. It reports positively on the business credit profile. So what I did was I did a change of financial responsibility between myself, the social, and the actual business. When I did that, there was equipment, EIP, equipment installment plans, I think is what they call them. So, you put a down payment and then make payments on your phone, interest-free for 2 years or 3 years or whatever until you pay off your phone. So I had several of those. So a couple phones, a couple Apple Watches, so on and so forth. Because I had built the credit profile up of the business was approved for 15 lines. They gave it a credit rating, an internal credit rating of 7 or J or I don't know. Don't get me started. But so I did the change of financial responsibility. So the financial responsibility left the social and went on to the EIN. So it is now responsible for the business is responsible for the payment of this, cell phone. So what they did was, in order to accept the payment plans, the equipment installment plans, they sent out emails when you had to, to the business email. And I got them. I got 3 emails. They looked exactly the same. It said, click here, something, something. I opened the next one and said, click here, something, something. They all were the same. So the first one I got, I clicked it. Yeah, it was 4 emails because it was 4 devices. And I got them for 3. That's why I said 3. So I clicked the first one and then deleted the rest because I thought T-Mobile was stupid, and they are because they're stupid. Corporations are dumb. And then people, they seem dumb, but they can't act outside the operating procedure. Otherwise, they get written up and fired and stuff. So they take on the stupidity of the corporation. So I deleted the emails. Well, come to find out, I had only accepted on behalf of the corporation the financial responsibility of 1 Apple Watch. There were 2 cell phones and another Apple Watch that, whatever. So T-Mobile was sending, me, the social, a bill for the remainder of the payments for this mobile phones and that 1 Apple Watch. Now, the 1 mobile phone was brand new. I think we had made 1 payment on it. 2 payments, maybe 2 payments. It was an iPhone 6S Plus when they first came out. You know what I mean? No, iPhone 6S, not the Plus. No, it was a 6S. Man, it don't matter. It was the big one. It was with the phone. Feel me? And then an Apple Watch and another phone that had been paying on for a while, but it wasn't paid off. It was like maybe less than half paid off. They were sending me the bills for that. They sent me the bills for that. Now, I didn't change the financial responsibility, so I validated the debt. I'm informed. I studied this information, and I've been studying it predominantly heavier in the recent past. So I validated the debt. I sent it to them, and when they validated it, they sent me 3 bills, which isn't a validation. It's not. And anyone who knows that's not it. They sent the last 3 months of billing, which was ridiculous. Because they kept sending the bill, and then they sent the final notice. Even though I validated it, they sent the final notice. which was a violation. And I could have hit it with 1,000, but I didn't. You know what I'm saying? I didn't. Because I was already getting them, and I knew I was already about to get them. So I didn't want to be greedy because, intentions. Y'all follow me. So, letter this time, I had it, I sent it certified mail. So they responded to this one. And in the response, I remember her name. Her name was Amy. In the type response, she acknowledged. She said, "Our system shows we did an exchange of financial responsibility for you." And she put the date, man, in the letter, man, that she sent back to me. She put the date. So I responded back. And I said, "I appreciate you, let me know when the date was," because I didn't remember. And, they acknowledged we did a change of financial responsibility for this account ending in whatever on this date. Just blew herself up. Bottom line is long story short, they were trying to bogart me, trying to bluff me. I knew they were trying to bluff me. So what I did is I filed a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission, FTC. So they deal with radio, internet, cell phone, communications. You know what I'm saying? So I filed a complaint with them. And T-Mobile went dark. They didn't send me anything. I got a call because they asked me, FTC emailed me and asked me for some more documentation. And, man, don't you know I scanned that letter that she sent me and uploaded it to the FTC? Well, they made the decision, obviously. And T-Mobile called me. I should have recorded this. But once again, remember, I said I wasn't greedy. And they tried to she tried to bluff me. We're going to put it on the credit report. She was threatening me. They violated so many of the provisions in the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. I could have got like $5,000 out of T-Mobile. But I was cool because I got an Apple Watch and 2 phones. It was their policy. They did a change of financial responsibility, but their internal policy was to send out emails and have the new whatever accept them. And if you don't accept them, they try to revert it back to the original account holder. But they had already done a change of financial responsibility for the original account holder. So that is the loophole right now that I found in T-Mobile. Will they close that? Probably. Can you take advantage of it? I don't know. Can you? I did. Will I do it again? No. Did I sue them for violations of the Debt Collection Practices Act? No. Why? Ultimately, I knew that, regardless whether it was the entity or the social, someone had those phones. T-Mobile didn't have them. I knew that. That's just true. Now, if I get a chance and an opportunity to beat the mess out of a big corporate entity, am I going to take that opportunity? Absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Am I going to go overboard with it? No. So I didn't. So I didn't sue T-Mobile. I could have. Still can. But validate the debt. That's the whole point of that story. Validate it, no matter what it is. Even if it's coming from an attorney, it don't matter who it is. If it's the original creditor, you got to go back and forth, validate the debt. They have to send you the contract with the line that says that, you're liable or you're done, son, basically. If they can't do that, which a lot of times they lose stuff. People are trying to get home. People, have been there all day. People don't treat the job the way they treat their home. So a lot of stuff is lost. They try to scan it in, and databases get corrupted. I'm telling you, I own a technology company. You want to understand how often hard drives and are never, ever usable again. And all that data is lost. It happens all the time. Man, people be crying. I feel bad for them. Validate the debt. That's the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. You can get that from the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. If you got a problem, You got to exhaust your administrative remedies. So if the FTC would have done, I would have sued them. But the FTC got them off my back. And, the company is enjoying devices, if y'all know what I'm saying. Fair credit reporting. This one's a lot thicker. This one's actually a little over 90 pages. So this is with regards to credit reporting. I'm not going to go through all these, y'all. I do want to touch on some pointers, some things that I saw pertinent with regards to this. So I'm going to open this up. Federal Trade Commission. So this is the Federal Trade Commission. Where did I go? I think it's this back screen, page 50. This is a procedure in case of disputed accuracy. So fair credit reporting, this is with your credit profile. Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. It's your individual credit profile. Any discrepancy. So check this out. If the completeness or accuracy of any item of information contained in a consumer's file at a consumer reporting agency is disputed by the consumer, and the consumer notifies the agency directly or indirectly through a reseller being like Credit Karma, Discover, some of these entities will allow you to dispute through them on your credit file. I would suggest not doing that, but you can do what you want to do. Consumer notifies the agency directly or indirectly through a reseller of such dispute. The agency shall, free of charge, conduct a reasonable reinvestigation to determine whether the disputed information is inaccurate and record the current status of the disputed information. So, on your credit report, as soon as they get that, it's recorded as disputed. Or delete the item from the file in accordance with paragraph 5 before the end of the 30-day period beginning on the date on which the agency receives the notice of the dispute from the consumer or reseller. So I recommend you send a certified mail, at least with tracking, so you can verify that it was received. Every company, third-party debt collector, and corporation for that matter, has someone who will accept mail and sign for it. They have to. They have to have what was known as a registered agent. And they have to be the registered agent has to be at the registered address of the corporation in most jurisdictions to accept service of process. Service of process here being a report of inaccurate information on a consumer report. That would be a service of process. So you can send a certified mail with signature. They'll get it. They'll sign for it. They have 30 days beginning on the date they received it to investigate it. If they can't validate it, they can't verify it, they have to take it off. I'm going to read this part again. If the completeness or accuracy of any item of information contained in a consumer's file. Man, I don't want to get put on a list, even though I probably am. But look. Reinvestigation required. Procedure in case of disputed accuracy. Reinvestigation required. This is 15 U.S.C. subsection 1681I. If the completeness or accuracy, it's incomplete. I noticed that something on the file that you're holding is inaccurate. It's incomplete. if the completeness or accuracy of any item of information. Yo, look. Okay, so you got something on your credit report. No. Let me be safer. I gotta be safer. I got something on my credit report. Right? If I want to, I'll dispute the address that they have on file for that debt. The phone number on file for that debt. The middle name in the file on that debt. You understand? Like, this stuff gets misconstrued, confused, mixed together all the time. You know how many people are running around with your name right now? They identify you through that number. Woo. Extension of period to reinvestigate, except as otherwise provided in subparagraph C. The 30-day period described in subparagraph A may be extended for not more than 15 additional days if the consumer reporting agency received information from the consumer during that 30-day period that is relevant to the reinvestigation. When you dispute an inaccuracy, don't say anything else to them until you hear something back. Nothing. Don't email them. Don't try to call them. Don't do anything. If you send them the same dispute letter, they're going to use that date that they received it to start the 30 days. You don't want to give them more time than you're required. Limitations on extension of a period to reinvestigate. Subparagraph B shall not apply to any reinvestigation in which during the 30-day period described in subparagraph A, the information that is subject to the reinvestigation is found to be inaccurate or incomplete, or the consumer reporting agency determines that the information cannot be verified. Woo! Treatment of inaccurate or unverifiable information. In general, if after any reinvestigation under paragraph 1 of any information disputed by a consumer, any information, I'm just going to keep saying that, any information, look up the word information. You know everything is information? Any information disputed by a consumer, an item of the information is found to be inaccurate or incomplete or cannot be verified, the consumer reporting agency shall promptly delete that item of information from the file of the consumer or modify that item of information as appropriate based on the results of the reinvestigation. Requirements relating to reinsertion of previously deleted material. I, certification of accuracy. If any information is deleted from a consumer's file pursuant to subparagraph A, the information may not be reinserted in the file by the consumer reporting agency unless the person who furnishes the information certifies that the information is complete and accurate. Certified. I'm going to look up that definition real quick because I don't want to. Qualification or attribute meaning being officially attested to or authoritatively confirmed as being genuine or true, represented. Yo, is that an affidavit? A certificate may or may accompany this qualification. Complete or meet and specify standards. So how do you certify that the information is complete and accurate? Is through an affidavit. No one operating in a public capacity can certify anything. If you don't believe me, if you deal with lawyers or attorneys or CPAs, tell them to sign an affidavit for any, I don't care what it is. Try to make it relevant. But ask them if they can sign. As my CPA, can you sign this affidavit? They will look at you crazy. Because A, you're pulling at the curtain. And B, no, they can't. That's liability. The public is, the name of the game is to limit your liability. Procedures to prevent reappearance. A consumer reporting agency shall maintain reasonable procedures designed to prevent the reappearance in a consumer's file and in consumer reports on the consumer of information that is deleted pursuant to this paragraph. This is your credit profile. TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, these are credit reporting agencies that report credit worthiness and credit history to potential creditors. Rules of construction, 15 U.S.C. subsection 16A8. 15 U.S.C. subsection 1681A. The term person means in any individual, partnership, corporation, trust, estate, cooperative, association, government or governmental subdivision, or agency or other entity. The term consumer means an individual. A lot of us are destroyed from lack of knowledge. We're not able to obtain, even in the society that we live in right now, it's heavily based on credit. Whether you believe in it or you feel it or not, there are certain avenues and certain qualities of life that you are unable to partake in due to the state-imposed caste system of debt, slavery. Y'all can hear it in my voice, man. This stuff really gets to me because I know what it does to people. I know what it does to my people. I know what it did to me. And I know what it does to y'all. Without proper information, incorrect information or improper information, incorrectly applied can get you hurt. Correct information, incorrectly applied can get you hurt. We don't even have the information with regards to most of this stuff. Article 1, Section 10, in part, says no state shall pass any law impairing the obligation of contract. If these entities can get you to default, administratively default on an alleged debt, they got you in a contract. And no state can impair these debt collectors, especially and specifically third parties, are in business, and they have a right. These companies, they have legal right. They're legal persons, and they have the right to contract. And if you allow them to contract with you through ignorance or misinformation, in my opinion, that's on you. I'm tired of hearing people, they never taught us. I consult a lot of people that never taught us. I was never taught. I learned. I know that I'm not different than anyone that listens to the Foundation on High Frequency Radio Network. I'm not different than any of y'all. I breathe just like you. I sit down and use the bathroom for number 2, just like you. If I don't wash my armpits, they smell foul and fire, just like you. So you can't tell me that I learned this stuff and I didn't come from an informed family, and you can't. I'm tired of people putting their responsibility onto others. This limited liability does not work for humans. It works for humans doing business on behalf of a dead entity. So the dead entity, will get all the liability. The human will not. But if the human, the natural person, is using an entity that is set up to steal your wealth and your energy, and you can contract to do that, that's on us. I want to bring this information to the forefront as much as I can, because this information is very powerful. Because every day you're contracting in commerce, every single day. You're either executing a contract, ignoring a contract, or looking to get into a contract. I know all y'all would love to finance a nice Mercedes-Benz 550 on your business credit. You're looking to get into contracts. We're looking to get into leases of nicer properties. Well, they check credit scores. We're looking to get better jobs. Well, they check credit scores. We're looking to finance loans for our homes, for our families. Well, they check credit scores. We're looking to maybe finance some clothes for a birthday that we forgot about. We want to get this card because it'll offer points, and if we pay it off before the balance is due, we can get the points and take advantage of credit, the benefit of credit versus the liability, the detriment of credit. In order to get that credit card, they check credit reports. Man, I was tripping when I found out that jobs, employers are checking potential employees' credit scores. If you got a low credit score, you are more liable to embezzle or steal funds because you're in debt. Ooh. It's the implementation of a caste system. You want to know why? Because jobs are shrinking. Jobs are moving overseas. Corporations are closing. They're closing their doors. ESPN is laying off hundreds of blah, 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 blah. Like, it's going down. So, look, what's better? A job that doesn't exist or a job you can't get for this specific reason? Which one are you more accepting of? Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. The pursuit of happiness. The fair pursuit of happiness on this earth with regards to commerce depends on the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act being understood. Depends on the Fair Credit Reporting Act being understood. So we can pursue this happiness, pursue this wonderful, wonderful life that we can be a part of. I don't know about you, but I don't pay my dues negatively. I had enough negative in my life growing up. I dealt with enough negative stuff. I'm sure my parents dealt with enough negative stuff. I'm sure my grandparents dealt with enough negative. My great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, great-great-great-great-grandparents, great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-uncle dealt with enough negativity and hardship and sorrow and displeasure, disappointment, disassociation, deception. Enough. At this point, I move forward. I'm done. But I need to be responsible for that decision to be done. What does it require to be done with all the BS? I need to understand what needs to be understood to avoid all the BS, to avoid being denied housing due to a low credit score, to avoid being denied a first-time home buyer's loan due to a low credit score, to avoid being denied specific credit that I would use to go into business, to finance, a company vehicle, so on and so forth, due to a low credit score. But in most times, when you go open a bank of court, they're supposed to be hitting your credit soft. These banks hit your credit hard, and that credit inquiry stays on your credit report for up to 2 years, and then it negatively affects the score. Did you know that if you use more than 30% of your available credit, it makes your credit score to go down? So let's say you got one credit card. It has a $1,000 limit, and you charge more than $300 on that card, it's going to drop your credit score. It's called credit utilization. Where do we find this stuff? We don't find it. It's hard to find. It's obscure information. Even though it's public, it's obscure. Why? Because it's powerful. Why? Because it will take you out of that slave class, which means someone above or that used to be above you is no longer getting money. And please believe, all these cats above us, they are maxed out. They got the yachts, the helicopters, they got all the stuff they looking for increase in profits because they want more. You mess with their pockets, man, woo! You want to do some damage? Understand this stuff. Go to the FCC.gov. Go to consumerreports.gov. at least read the statutes with regards to consumer protections. Because you're a consumer. You're consuming goods and services every day, period. Unless you produce your food, produce your fashions of clothing, produce your own fuel, and produce your own energy in your home, you are a consumer. You have been consuming, and you will continue to be consuming. You should, and I highly recommend you understand the consumer protections. Because we are the slave class. We are the ones with the money. That's why all these advertisers on TV, on the radio, everywhere we go, they're trying to push ads towards us. YouTube, it don't matter. On the bus stop, they got a big ad taller than me on the bus stop. I'm driving down the freeway, ads on the billboard. Buy this, buy that, because we run this. And they know it. So to have power and to be more powerful, the ones who run it don't let them know. And we can come up off of their ignorance. I'm tired of being ignorant. I'm tired of my people being ignorant. I'm tired of seeing the effects of that ignorance. And to understand that I'm only one person and I cannot change the world. I need y'all to help me. I need y'all to stand up and help me. I'm going to help y'all. You help me. You hold me down. I'm going to build y'all up. I'm telling you. I can't do this alone. And it's pathetic and it's ridiculous. And I'm tired of it. And this is why I do this. The advancement of us. The reestablishment of our states. The reestablishment of our family traditions. I don't care what your family tradition is. I respect it. As long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. And you ain't taking no innocence or nothing like that. I respect your, man, you can dance on the tan leather skins of piglets. I don't care. But we need to bring back these family traditions. We need to bring back these understandings. We need to bring back these understandings and the value of study. Check this out, yo. And then I'm going to start closing. Y'all got a question? Y'all just want to say what's up? You want to tell me the show sucked? 424-222-5250, press 1. If that don't work, 563-999-3625, press 1. If you're on the air, you can call in. I might go over, I might not. But if we can get this figured out, we're going to be in a much better position. A much better position. And that's what I want ultimately for everybody. I don't like feeling like I have abundance and then I walk down the street or drive down the street or whatever and I see lack of abundance. Doesn't make me feel good. I don't feel good standing on the shoulders of the little. And we only little because we don't know. Because we're strong. And whether you know it or not, you're a God. You're the highest form of life on this earth. Beyond the earth, I don't know. And I'm pretty sure you're not too much. But right now, show and prove. That's all we can do is show and prove. So understand these things. You know, we're in commerce. We're doing business, goods and services every single day. Please believe me. And if you don't understand that, just, you know, keep studying. Because eventually you'll get it. HFRN_foundation@gmail.com. Email me. I consult in the private. A workman is worthy of his or her hire. Do hour consultations. I teach trust administration. Set you up in a private family foundation. Reorganize your corporation. Show you the demonstration. I'm just playing. And I'm genuinely, you know, I would like to say a nice guy, and I like to help people. It makes me feel good. So, HFRN_foundation@gmail.com. If I can serve, I can, and I will. If I can't, I'm going to figure it out for you. That's what I got for you. highfrequencyradionetwork.com. Go to the PDF section and sit there. I'm telling you, man. You sit there long enough, you'll be brilliant. The Fair Credit Reporting Act is very important. This has regards to do with your credit profile, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. Before it gets on your credit profile, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. When it gets on your profile, if you didn't catch it in time, Fair Credit Reporting Act. You're a consumer. Get caught up to what it means to be a consumer. To be private and to operate the correct way. To operate the correct way. We all operate. Do you operate the correct way? Quit making excuses. I ain't making no excuses. Y'all dealing with me, y'all can't make no excuses. Validate the debt. Third party. Validate it. Crickets. You'll hear crickets if you do it correctly. Crickets. 30 days later, crickets. 60 days later, crickets. 90 days later, crickets. Now you start calming down. Because I'm telling you, A, there's a level of fear to this, y'all. A, because you don't know. B, because you haven't seen anyone do it successfully. C, because what you have seen is people go to jail and get in trouble for this stuff. There's a concerted effort to keep you distracted from information that can set you free. The public has an interest in preserving itself. You give your energy to the public through taxation of your labor and through the satisfaction of debts and obligations, whether they are or are not valid. So think about that, you know. Next time you go to a government center or you're asking for help me, help my family. I don't know. If you didn't know, an attorney, first duty is to the court. Number one. Second duty is to his client. If what he's doing for a client conflicts with the duty to the court, the client gets thrown under the bus. And they get represented from under that bus. I don't need to be represented. I am present. 424-222-5250. I appreciate y'all, man. I wanted to say peace to everyone who shot me an email. I mean, a lot of people just shoot me emails just to say, they appreciate what I'm doing. And just, want to show me love. And I'm going to tell y'all, all praise is due to the ancestors and the Creator. This is not me. This is not me. But I appreciate it. It is appreciated. And please don't believe that when I say, all praise is due to the Creator and ancestors, that I'm being dismissive of what you're saying to me. I understand where you're coming from. I understand what this means to y'all. We all do. Yusuf, David McDowell, Dr. Nair Gilliam, Sharif Ali, we all understand what this means to y'all. Because we understood what it meant to us and what it means to us currently. It's all about being self-sustainable. I don't want any outside influence in my family. I don't want the court telling my family what. I don't want the school. I mean, I go back and forth with my daughter's school pretty much every week. And I will not stop. I ain't going to embarrass her, but I ain't finna sit down. Census Bureau trying to come in here? No. But it's just a nope. But it's help for the nope. But it helps us figure out the budget. Nope. Why? Nope. But there could be a fine. I'll pay the fine. Well, we've never really given anyone the fine. Well, why threaten the fine then? I'm not letting you in my private home. Sitting on my couch and stuff. I do not know you. It's business. Don't be afraid to conduct business. You got to be nice to people and take advantage of that personal stuff. You feel in a certain way. You don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. You don't want to do that and do this. So you succumb to something that you ain't supposed to be, succumbing to. Man, forget that mess. I ain't letting you in my house. I don't care how you feel. You on the clock. You should have left that feelings at the door. When you punch the clock, they should have been sitting to the left of the clock, and as you punch the clock, and you move to the right of the clock, and you grab that when you punch out. Understand who you are. Understand how powerful you are. Understand how much responsibility comes with that power. Complacency isn't cool. I'm going to go to the phone lines. 803-5742. Peace. What's your name? Where you calling from? 803. 803. 5742.
I got you. Peace, man. It's Jay, South Carolina.
Oh, peace, Jay, man. How you doing, man?
Mind blown. I'm good, man. How about yourself?
Oh, man, I'm perfect. Every day is perfect, man. I'm, was out here doing my dance sideways, like a shuffle.
Oh, yeah. Great show, man. Touched on a lot of pertinent points, Reminding people that they are the money. They can't do it without us. It's cool because anybody who's just joining, first episode, second, third time joining, listening, pat yourself on the back. You seeking truth. That's what it's about. This credit thing is crazy, man. Everything you speak of is crazy. This world is, that's surrounded by it. But I really enjoyed the content you were speaking of. I need to have a lot of people send that if they're interested in the repair or adding of trade lines or going for funding using those.
Hold on, real quick. Having said everything I said on the show, y'all, if for whatever reason you are unable, unwilling, unfit, unmotivated to obtain these publications, learn them, and institute them into your demonstratable knowledge, this brother right here, Brother Jay, Upland Credit,
correct.
Are in a position.
I want them to come to you. I really want them to come to you if they're interested. You can learn all the information, and we can take a bunch of inquiries right now. It's all secure and SSL'd up. We're just running through some stuff right now. Logistic, encryption, stuff like that. Just running through it again. I like to keep track of, where this came from, where that came from. So you'll be,
Describe some of the things that you do, that y'all do over there.
Remove erroneous items from your credit report. They have, like you said, they have to prove everything. It has to be substantiated, and they have a certain amount of time to do so. I heard you say 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Nah, shit, you can sue them. They'll remove it. Adding trade lines to reduce the debt utilization, keeping you under 30%. You get a $5,000 trade line for $200. It's real. You have to understand this paperwork. It's a game, but it's nothing to play with. If that makes sense. They're making money off you. You may as well make money off of the information that they've gathered on you to sell to everybody else. Use it to your advantage. It can destroy you or it can build you. It can keep you in bondage or it can set you free. You take that information and you go for funding. Nothing down. I mean, nothing is free. Of course, you have to, if you have anything on your report, get it removed. Our team is comprised of former FICO employees, so they know the system. Move this off. This act. Boom, boom, boom. It's gone, and they keep disputes, unlimited disputes. Pay that fee, and it's a low barrier to entry. You get all this stuff done. Credit monitoring service costs you about $30. Restoration about $99. You come with a partner, it's even cheaper. But it's fair. It's fairly cheap. You know, risk to reward. You come through funding, you get anywhere between $20,000 and $200,000 in unsecured credit. And there are strategies to move these funds into a bank account. It is credit. It is not earned income. Therefore, it is not taxable. I'm not gonna say too much over the air about, you know, there are ways to. You just gotta know how to play the game. Have an investment vehicle. You know. I want to help as many people as possible, but I don't want to put something in their hands that's going to, you know, if you're not knowledgeable and responsible. And same thing, make you laugh, make you cry. So you gotta know what you're doing and use it to your advantage. But I'm here to help.
So the brothers and sisters with Upland can help you out, no matter what situation you're in. If you want to get a hold of them, email me, hfrn.foundation@gmail.com. This is strictly for those who maybe don't have the time, the patience, or ability to do it on their own. A workman is worthy of their hire. You're going to pay for it regardless, whether it's Federal Reserve notes, salt, babysitting someone's care for them or something, or your own energy and learning the information. So just remember that way. But yeah, definitely down with the team. These guys are legit. Giving them time to get their stuff together because, you know, I want y'all to do well. You know what I'm saying? I really want y'all to do well. But yeah, he said the brother said he was ready. Brother Jay said he's ready. So, you know,
we're taking inquiries right now. All that you come through.
So email me hfrn.foundation@gmail.com, and we'll get you some more information. Let you know how to link up with the brothers and the sisters.
I appreciate that too, man. You know.
I mean, you know, show yourself self-approved. So all I can do is recognize, you know. So,
it's beneficial. You can learn this information, just like you said, man. You can learn this information. I'm no better than you. I put my pants on one leg at a time. I get up, my breath's stinking too, you know. And I've only been studying this for 2 years, year and a half. It doesn't take long. And the people on the team, you know, decades. So I just want to help as many people as possible, man. I appreciate you making that possible. You know, what you putting out in the universe. You know.
Man, you know, you gotta do what's expected of me, man. I appreciate you, man, and you know, I look forward to, you know, help our people together. You know, that's what it's all about for me. If you ain't helping the people, man, you might as well moonwalk sideways somewhere away from me.
Exactly.
All that other stuff ain't even happening with me. I don't got time for none of that ego trip, none of that. So, you know, I appreciate brothers like you, man. Thanks for calling in, man.
Appreciate you. Peace.
Peace to the gods. What's the deal, Dale from Brownsville?
All right, how you doing, so L? So L, two things. Now, I feel like if you pay one people collecting debt, right? Can you get that money back once they receive it?
Nah.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right, and the second thing, are y'all gonna talk about like a certificate of publication one day?
Sure. Yeah, I'll write that down.
Okay. Because I know you talk about
when you make a payment to a debt collector, that's an admission it's an admission that you owe.
So the reason why sometimes the reason why we make them payments, we get forced into, you know, our arms get twisted. You know, so like, you know, we'll come back at later, you know, when we're ready able to battle, you know.
Right.
That sometimes we're not able to battle, so that's just one way getting the pressure off us. Say uncle, So we'll say uncle, but we just come back to fight another day. But just to get that, that bill off our back,
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, that's like by me moving around, I move around a lot sometimes. So by me moving around, I got a lot of things going on. Sometimes I just have to give in, that just to keep the pressure off me, so I'm able to, till I set up, headquarters.
Yeah.
When
you gotta pick and choose your battles, man. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's nothing, as I say, like, it's like I'm learning now a whole lot, so I'm not really seeking revenge. I'm making myself untouchable. That's why you haven't heard me on the radio, saying low key. I've been listening, like, I'll come back and listen like a day later or something like that. But as far as being on the radio, and people hear me out there, because people hear me out there, and they let me know, yo, Dad, I hear you out there, but there's a lot of listeners, but not a lot of speakers. So I just stay low key, that because you got a lot of crabs, listening to the show, who don't want people to go anywhere, So if they out there,
Yeah, tell them to holler at me. Holler at me.
You know what they say about the crabs, right? You know what they say about the crabs. They want to pull you down, They want you to just stay, on the bottom. They don't want you to go anywhere. They don't want you to be happy. They want us to use a social instead of EIN, They try to make no movements. They just want to stay miserable. They want you to be with them.
True.
Yeah, so
I've
that's
seen crabs trying to run up on his prey and then get scared and drop its claw off and run away and leave his claw. Like, take this, leave me alone. So I mean, to stand up to them, maybe they run off.
Yeah, like that. You know what happened? I'm not gonna even stand there and stay with them. I ain't gonna let them. As far as that's why I stay low key now. I listen to y'all. Like maybe a few hours later or maybe a few days later. But I'm more laid back now. I'm more laid back. With a lot of stuff that we learn, a lot of us get laid back. I ain't. I say we the person behind that puppet. So, that's what I'm making. I'm making moves like that,
I respect it.
I want to control everything and own nothing.
Own nothing.
Oh yeah.
Own nothing.
I'm gonna get with you in the private, cause I need to do a few things with that, that.
Okay, yeah.
Well, listen,
send me an email, man.
All right, listen. Okay, peace to you and all the cool listeners out there, and I'm going to let you take the next caller.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling in, brother.
Appreciate you, too.
Guys.
You're welcome. Peace to the gods.
Y'all know the deal. That was Darryl from Brownsville. Long time listener, man. Oh, Jesus. Just holding foundation down, I think, since day one. There's a lot to be said about loyalty. I choose loyalty over money any day. This is my guy, JB.
Peace, man. There's pancake anklets everywhere, man.
Man, hey, I see toes popping off.
Throbbing. Nah, this is great. All your shows, man, they're powerful. Actually, just a refresher that I got some stuff to deal with, and I always forget how much money you can make off it.
Yeah.
Cool. But no, I love it. I love the vibe. I understand, like, when you get frustrated like that. I think you closed your last show, I think, saying something like you're frustrated that, like, we're living like this, and ancient civilizations built technology we can't even understand. So I get that sentiment.
Yeah, I feel like we're definitely in a digressional period of human existence. It's very terrible. But, you know, it's all good. There's going to be a lot of glory with regards to those who can, you know, help pull us out of this. I mean, if you're
Absolutely.
into that.
No, I'm excited. I mean, hey, you can make money on a bear or bull market if you know what the market is.
Yeah, exactly.
People are buying, selling. But I think this is a great topic, and I'd love to actually hook up with Jay in the private, just possibly contracting with him to even like manage the company's credit profile like for me, and also he's got like some serious web skills too, right?
Yeah, he's a heavy coder. I mean coder, like he'll code from scratch. Like I'll be on the phone with him, I hear him typing, I know he's coding. Creating databases and all types of stuff. Like you have coders who just copy and paste, call them script jockeys and stuff. And then you got coders who are straight hard line and code their own stuff. And Jay's definitely one of those cats. So he's what is that? That show, Mr. Robot.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like he's pretty cold. So I've seen a lot. I've seen his work.
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, if he contracts in the private for that also, because I got some things I want to set up, man.
He only accepts gold and silver.
Oh, all right. Well, you know, I like that. So, I don't want to hog the line too much. I'm sure you got people with some questions, but yeah, I'd love to. I don't know if I can contact you and you set something up with Jay and just want to call and say, keep pancaking toes, brother.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I'll just email me, man, and I'll forward it to Jay. We'll take it from there.
Good. Excellent.
I appreciate you calling in, man.
Thank you, brother.
Peace to God. Holding it down to day one. That's JB too. You know. Appreciate the long time listeners. You know, we got about 7 minutes left in the broadcast. I know I got more callers, but you know what? I think I'm done. I really wasn't planning on going in so heavy. We had a special guest scheduled. Like I said, family emergency. Family comes first. But I put in a lot of work. I'm sorry. But I love y'all. And, I do this for y'all. Like, straight up. I take time out of my day away from my family to, prepare these shows and then to, broadcast these shows. Because if one person 100% adamantly just stands up and like, you know what, Soap's right, I'm going to rock the Soap, and just changes their life for the better, that's good for me. We got enough suffering, we got enough poverty, we got enough hating, arguing, fighting, drama going on. I, personally have chosen to be a catalyst for positive effects. And part of the procedure that I've chosen to operate from is, doing these shows. So I love y'all. Thank y'all every single week for coming through. I've worked really hard to bring this content to y'all and to stay on topic and to keep it relevant. And I appreciate you. Most importantly is the listeners. Shout out to Big Brother Yusuf L all day, every day. For providing the platform, building the platform, building out the audience, and allowing me to carve a little spot on his hill for the people. Not for me, for the people. So, on the way out, I do want to say that, if you ask me, silver and gold and precious metals, all of them, in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, and that's just long term. I mean, it could be soon. But definitely, even mainstream pundits are pushing that these precious metals are going to move to higher prices expeditiously, very quickly, and exponentially. Like, it's going to be numbers. And there's a lot of cash flying around, but if ever that cash is worthless or close to worthless, it won't matter. And all the hip hop songs about cash ruling, and all the movies and all the stuff that we ever did for the money is now all in vain because it's worthless. Now, I'm gonna tell you this: I'm not a conspiracy theorist, in my opinion, but I do look at facts, and we can talk about economic crises all day. We can talk about Venezuela and how far an ounce of silver is getting families in Venezuela. We can talk about Zimbabwe when they had the $1 trillion bill or something. Let's talk about Greece. A couple years ago, Greece had a currency crisis. This is Europeans, y'all. Europe. And they had a bank holiday where they closed the banks, and they were only allowing citizens to get, euros, money out of an ATM, and they had a limit, 60 euros a day. I think we get desensitized to poverty of people of African descent. The whole picture of the European descent dude talking, striking chords with you about these starving children in Africa, gangbangers and poverty-stricken, and so it's more acceptable for even me. I'll admit it. You know what I mean? Because I'm a product of this environment. So I'll admit it. Even I'm more used to seeing my people in despairing positions and accepting of it. And I'm working on that day to day. But I'm going to tell you what it did to me when I saw those Europeans standing in line. It made me realize that it's really, really an issue. Being dependent upon government or some sort of bank or anything for your food, clothing, and shelter, for your absolute human necessity. And if they had Europeans in the line and it was only giving them $60 a day, man, they'll do it to us, man. And I'm convinced if the United States goes to a war, it's going to lose, and it'll be the end of an epoch, an era, whatever you want to say. So if you pray, pray. If you meditate, meditate. If you send good vibes, because we do not need to go to war. This country, or the service incorporation of the country, does not need to push us into war. It's ridiculous, and I'm not looking forward to it if it does happen. But we will be prepared. So get your hands on some gold and silver, y'all. It happened in Venezuela, Greece. It happened all over. Currency crisis, currency crunch. They're pulling certificates, different notes out of currency, out of circulation in India. I mean, you can look all over the world, and it's going down. And any devaluation of currency is going to affect you. It's going to affect us. Any assets that you're holding that are denominated in currency, which means priced in U.S. dollars, is the same thing as holding U.S. dollars. So at the very least, 5 to 10% of your wealth, buy gold and silver. If you ask me, buy silver. It's a precious metal as well as a commodity. I mean, precious metal as well as an industrial metal. The earth does not create it, and it's used in production of electronic equipment and the stuff, circuit boards and so on and so forth. Like, it's being destroyed every day. With that being said, everything's all good. Everything's going to be fine. If you make sure it's going to be fine. If you ensure that it's going to be all good. We prepare for the worst, trust and hope for the best. But we don't negate what could possibly be negative. We don't ignore it or ignore the possibility. We don't stick our heads in the sand. There are people behind us that are depending on us. So with that being said, I want to say peace to you, love to you. Please understand your responsibility. But at the same time, enjoy yourself. Have fun. I want you to, before you go to sleep, think of 10 things that you're thankful for. And smile, and then lay down and go to sleep. And try to do that as much as you can. We need to change the way we think so that we can perceive and look forward to positive things and work towards them instead of being bombarded with negative things and accepting them. Learn what we can learn to advance our positions and advance the positions of others. Because as we advance others, they advance, and then they turn around and advance us. Think about your last name instead of your first name. Enjoy yourself. Have a great week. Hug someone. Look in the mirror and tell yourself that you're worth something, and that you're important, and that you deserve to be free. You deserve to be economically free. You deserve to be stress-free, majorly, and you deserve to have abundance in your life. And then actively go out and achieve it. My name is So L, Seeker of Truth L, for the Foundation. This is High Frequency Radio Network. And I want to say thank you, appreciation, and love from all of us here at High Frequency Radio Network to all of y'all. And catch me next week, Wednesday, same time. I'm going to do my dance. I don't know what one yet, but it's going to be cold. And I'm, while I'm dancing, I'm going to be stepping on toes. Y'all know how I do it. Smashing feet, anklets, shin splints, all that. Stepping all up your shins and your knees because it's time for a change. And with that being said, I love y'all. Y'all have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your week. Kiss your loved ones. Say 10 things that you're thankful for. Smile. Enjoy yourself. Participate less in drama and more in positivity. And don't accept that offer for an attitude or an argument. You feel me? Love y'all. Enjoy yourself. And peace to the gods.
Gonna sing all the way live. High Frequency Radio.